The Battle of Chateauguay took place on October 26, 1813. The significance was because the Canadians pushed back the Americans, all thanks to Charles de Salaberry. This begins by the American plan. The Americans were going to send two forces. One would descend from the St. Lawrence River from Sackett's Harbor on Lake Ontario, and the other would advance north from Plattsburgh on Lake Champlain. All this was commanded by United States Secretary of War John Armstrong, Major General Wade Hampton, and Major General James Wilkinson. Wade Hampton despised James Wilkinson, but Wilkinson commanded Sackett's Harbor Division, while Wade Hampton commanded Plattsburgh. Wade Hampton also had doubts about his plan. His own troops were badly trained and raw, while his junior officers lacked training. Now let's see Hampton's movements. Hampton moved by boat to Île-aux-Noix, but there wasn't much water because of a summer drought. Then Hampton marched his troops to the Four Corners on the Chateauguay River, but Wilkinson's force was not ready. So Hampton waited at the Four Corners until October 18th. Hampton was concerned that the delay might be giving the Canadians time to prepare against him. Then, hearing a reply from Armstrong that Wilkinson was almost ready, Hampton began advancing down the Chateauguay River with a brigade of 1,400 New York militia. But they refused to cross into the frontier of Canada, which left Hampton with two brigades of 2,600 in total. Hampton's brigade were slowly from the crossing every stream. Let's see the Canadian countermoves. Major General Louis de Watteville was commander of Montreal, who had received reports of the Americans advancing, so he ordered several units of militia and 2 battalions of Marines to move up the St. Lawrence River. Governor-General of Canada, Lieutenant Sir George Prevost, ordered Lieutenant George MacDonald to move from Kingston to Lake Ontario, south of Montreal, with a battalion of regulars and militia. In the outpost, Charles de Salaberry had already been organizing his defense. Followed the north bank of Chateauguay, where the English River joined. De Salaberry ordered abbats to be constructed. If you don't know what abbats are, they are obstacles made of fallen trees to block the road behind them. Then posted 2 companies of the Canadian Fencibles under Captain Richard Ferguson, and 2 companies posted under Captain Michael Louis Jarouche Deschenay and his brother Captain Jean-Baptiste Jarouche Deschenay, totaling about 100 men, and 24 Native Americans of Abenaki, Algonquin, and Iroquois, normally commanded by Captain Lamothe, to guard the ford. De Salaberry posted his 2nd and 3rd Light Companies under command of Captain de Tarns and Daly, and the Mohawks Kanakaway commanded by Captains Lormier and Dutchmay. De Salaberry had also been so confident of victory he did not inform de Watteville and Prevost, but they rode forward and approved. Now let's see the battle. On October 25th, Hampton sent in 1,000 men of his 1st Brigade under Purity to cross the Chateauguay River. The circle and then circle around the Canadians and outflank it by capturing the fort, while the other 1,000 men of his 2nd Brigade under General George Izard attacked from the front after Purity set off. Hampton got a letter from John Armstrong dated October 16th, informing him that Armstrong himself was taking overall command of the combined American forces, leaving Wilkinson in charge. Hampton was also ordered to construct winter quarters for 1,000 men on the St. Lawrence. Hampton interrupted this instruction to mean that there would be no attack on Montreal and the entire campaign was pointless. He would probably have retreated immediately, except that Purity would have been isolated. Purity's men spent a miserable night marching through swampy woods in pouring rain. Becoming quite lost as dawn broke on the 26th of October, they located the correct trail, but inexperienced or unwilling guides first led them about mid-morning to a point on the river opposite de Salaberry forward defense. Sometime after noon, Purity's brigade encountered the detachment of de Salaberry had posted to guard the fort. Captain Daly, leading the light company of the 3rd Select Embodied Militia, launched an immediate attack against the Americans, while other Canadian troops engaged down from across the river. Captain Daly and Captain Brugier were wounded, wounded, but the Americans were driven back after Purity's force had been walking for some time. With no obvious signs of American success, Izard's force marched into the ravine, facing de Salaberry's defense. Deployed into line, troops began steadily rolling volleys into vents and trees, conventional tactics better suited to pitched battles between regular forces in open terrain. The defenders replied with accurate fire. Surprisingly, few Americans were hit. After that, some First Nations went into the forest and they did their bugle calls, cheers, and Indian war whoops. The Americans thought themselves outnumbered and about to be outflanked, and fell back. Hampton did not order any guns to be brought forward to destroy that a bit. Purity first fell back to the riverbank opposite de Salaberry's front line, expecting to find Izard still in action, so that he could ferry his wounded across the river. Instead, he once again found himself under fire from de Salaberry and was forced to retreat into the wood to his starting place. Once Purity had extracted himself after another dismal night in the woods, the American army withdrew in good order. De Salaberry did not pursue the aftermath. Hampton submitted his resignation form and was not employed in the field again. Casualties: Canadians 2 killed, 16 wounded, and 4 missing. Americans 23 killed, 33 wounded, and 29 missing.